Smoking splits, blunts, and Tahoes, and we don't smoke on gelatos, so my driver watch the potholes. She cost 100 when she dropped clean, tripping on the Bible, just don't touch me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, or at least relatively new, my name's Haley, or Hey, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back again, 6 months later. I know, I said I was gonna be consistent, but I would literally film and then not like it as I was editing and delete everything. So we're here, and today we're gonna talk about why I got divorced at 20. Because I found out as of yesterday my divorce is final. But in order to tell you guys why I got divorced, I also have to tell you the story of how we got together and everything that happened in our relationship. And I'm going to try to keep this video under 30 minutes. I'm really only posting it because, one, I feel like a lot of people don't know what happened. And people are just kind of like, oh, like she got married young, realized it was a mistake. Yes, but also there's so much more to it. And on top of that, a lot of people asked me to make a story time about it because everybody's so confused. So we're gonna start basically from when stuff started going wrong. First time, we started dating January 16th of 2023. The first time anything ever, I guess, went wrong was in February of 2023. I had come back to his place after classes for the day and doing someone's hair on campus. And he was on FaceTime with his ex-girlfriend in the kitchen when we were supposed to be cooking together. And had me, and literally told me to be quiet while he was on the phone with her. Don't ask me why I stayed. I don't know. So that happens. I go through his phone that night. Mind you, this is like February 6th. I go through his phone that night. I find messages between him and other girls. And one of the messages said, as I'm literally laying next to him, and I know for a fact I was laying next to him because it was a day that he didn't have work. And it was 8 a.m. on a Sunday, and he had texted this girl and was and set up on her story and was send me something to make my day better. As your girlfriend is asleep next to you? Really? I guess. But that happens. I end up confronting him about the messages. He says that it wasn't that serious because the girls were just doing him a service. Mind you, what he was doing in texting these girls was trying to buy nudes from them. I was trying to figure out what other word to say, but for lack of a better word, he was trying to buy their nudes. Asking to buy their nudes, their dirty underwear, their dirty socks. I will be putting receipts in this video because I know this sounds so crazy, but I promise you, you cannot make this stuff up. You just can't make this stuff up. So yes, there will be receipts. But yeah, so that happens. I end up being okay, fine, whatever, just stop doing it. He says, okay, I promise I'm going to stop, I want to be with you. And I'm okay. Little 19-year-old Haley is okay. Be so for real. So that happens. We're cool. The next month, March comes around, and it's time for me to come home for spring break. So, mind you, from the day we started dating, we were never separated. We were always together, unless he was at work or I was on campus. Other than that, we spent every single day together. And that happens. I come home for spring break. He's saying he might be able to come up with me. He doesn't know. So the day I come back, I'm not with him that whole day. That night I go to the rodeo with one of my very close friends. That happens, whatever. Everything's fine. Literally everything's fine, I think, at this point. So he follows me up a day and a half after I get here. He drives the 9 hours here. So he gets here, we stay at my mom's. And we're going to the beach every single day because he was obsessed with the water. I'm also obsessed with the water, so it wasn't an issue for me. So we're going to the beach, we're doing all this stuff, we're having fun, and one day we're at, if you know Texas beaches, we were at Surfside. And we would go to Surfside, and there was this little shack or whatever. He'd gone to get us drinks. He went to go buy us alcohol. And sorry, I just heard the front door open. I think my mom's leaving. But that happens, and he goes, you can go through my phone. And I'm immediately no. So I don't go through his phone. I don't go through his phone the whole week that he's here with me. And then the last day, he starts acting really, really weird. He starts acting weird. He's grumpy, annoyed at everything. And, like, I get upset that he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to do anything. And he's, like, now saying, like, hey, instead of you driving back with me, why don't you just fly back on your own? What? We've literally been planning this, that I'm gonna fly down, you have business to take care of, so you're gonna drive down after me, and then we're gonna drive back together. That was the plan. So I go to the living room and I'm like talking to my mom, like, hey, like, I don't think he's gonna take me back to Kansas, so I need to buy a plane ticket. And she's like, okay, we'll figure that out. Whatever. So regardless of whether or not he took me back, I had a way to get back to school. So that goes on. We get back to Kansas at like 6:30 in the morning, and I decided to go through his phone. Because I'm like, okay, you offered to go through your phone. I feel like it's because you knew something was wrong. So I go through his phone, and I actually am going to look in my camera roll right now to find the screenshot, so I remember to insert it right here. I'm going to have to like blur out a lot because it's literally this girl's phone number and all this stuff, but essentially he was... Hold on, I'm finding it. I know it's in here. Where are you? Hi, baby. How are you? Okay, so I go to this girl's messages, and I see that her contact name in his phone is Snow Bunny. I'm like, who's that? Who is this? So I start looking through their messages, and they're texting, and he's like asking her for nudes. And she keeps saying, like, I don't want to send them on messages, I want to send them on Snap. I'm also going to insert this, so it'll be somewhere on the screen if I can figure out how to do it. And he was basically like, he asked her, he's like, do you want me to delete our text messages? She said, it's up to you. And he asked if she had deleted it from her phone, and he said no. And she said no, and then he goes, we'll both delete them, screen record it, gang. So he wanted proof that she had deleted their messages, and she said, I'll delete it. So after that, I go and I find I end up asking him to send me their Snapchat messages, because I'm like, who is this girl? Why are y'all snapping? And I'm not going to say that I'm the type of girl that's like, oh, like, you can't have any girlfriends, because I have a lot of guy friends. So I understand that, like, they can be genuine friendships. They really can. Like, I've had some of the same friends since 5th, 6th grade that are guys, and it's just, that's how it is. It's that simple. So I did have an issue with him having female friends. He had an issue with me having male friends. He didn't like it, but he could, buy nudes from girls. I just couldn't talk to the guys that were my friends and were there for me through a lot of traumatic experiences. So I go through the messages, and he's like trying to plan a threesome. Mind you, he asked me if I wanted to have a threesome, and I said no. I said no. Because what? So he's literally texting this girl, trying to plan it, saying he'll pay her, all this stuff. And then when I find out about it, I'm like, why are you doing this? I don't want to do that. And he's like, I told her you wouldn't want to do it if you found out I paid for it. I said, I didn't want to do it regardless of whether you paid for it or not, first of all. And second of all, you're weird for wanting to pay for that. Like, if that's what you want, then you just don't need to be with me. And he was like, no, I want to be with you. Like, you're the person I want to be with. I literally have the screenshot of him saying, like, you can drink with us. And the place that we used to always go in the club in Wichita, like, with me and my friends, there were 2 clubs that we could get into under 21. Onyx and Club Rodeo. So he sent her a text saying, you drinking with us, maybe then drink at our place some more. Just don't say nothing about money around her. So she then proceeds to send pictures of herself to him. And not nudes, just normal pictures. I can't put that on there because her face is in them, and there is another situation going on. I can speak on like the divorce and specifics about the divorce because the divorce is final. Do I have a criminal case against him currently? Yes, and we'll get to why soon. So there's that screenshot, and then another message of him asking if she's married. She said no, and he goes, I'm gonna screenshot our messages so my wife doesn't think anything is going on. Cool. And I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna have that on the screen. So that happens. She just says okay and whatever. So then I also have screenshots of him cash apping her for nudes. Yeah. So that was that situation. I told him about it. He essentially got mad at me for going through his phone, and I was just kind of like, you're mad at me for going through your phone, but you were trying to pay a girl to have a threesome when I didn't want to have a threesome. So that happens, and we get into a really big argument, and at this point, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to leave him. Because I'm like, this is getting out of freaking hand, like, I'm not doing this anymore. And he's just not going for it. So he like pins me to the bed, and he's like, no, like, don't leave me, you can't throw all of this away for over this, and da 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 da. So that all happens. Now, I know he's going to see this video because he subscribes to this channel, and he's going to say that it's because of this thing. And I'm going to tell you what this thing is. So when we met, he allowed me to use one of his cars. He tried to sell it to me, I didn't want to buy it, he just let me use the car. Now the key to the car was taped together. Keep that in mind. It was taped together with like the little tape that you see teachers have in their classrooms. Taped together. And one day apparently like the key just wasn't taped together anymore, so whatever was inside of it fell out. And I didn't realize it. Like, I was just walking in the house, unlocked the door, went inside, whatever. Didn't think anything of the key, was just like whatever. So apparently the car doesn't start without whatever goes inside the black part of the key. Again, something I didn't know. And he goes, you need to pay to have that key fixed because you broke it. I didn't break it. It was already taped together. What are you talking about? I didn't even know something fell out. And he was like, well, you broke it. You need to pay for it. And I was like, I'm not paying for that. And he was like, well, then call your parents and have them pay for it. No, my parents are going to spaz. First of all, they're not even... At the time, I was 19, he was 24. We are now 20 and 26. So keep in mind that me going to my parents and being like, hey, my 24-year-old boyfriend wants me to pay $450 to fix a key that I didn't break. I'm going to throw this away over $400, like everything we've been through, everything I've done for you. And I was just like, yeah, because I'm not about to pay $400 for something I didn't break. So the key ends up getting paid for. He's like upset about it, whatever. And he says that that's the reason that he did it. That's the reason he cheated on me. I don't understand the logic. Don't ask. So that happens. We get past like the whole spring break thing, and we're just chilling. And like it's getting closer to summer. His birthday, everything. So after the spring break situation, I did continue to catch him buying nudes from girls, sending girls money. He at one point tried to cheat on me with a coworker, and when I asked him why they were snapping each other, because he literally would only use Snap to buy nudes from girls and to snap me. So it didn't make sense for him to have a female coworker on Snapchat because he was also in the military. So it didn't really make sense to me. So he ended up saying, like, instead of being mad about me having her on Snapchat, you should be thanking her. And I said, well, what should I be thanking her for? And he was like, because I was going to try and talk to her, but she told me not to do that to you. What? So I should be thanking your coworker because you tried to cheat on me with her and she said no. Like any decent human being would. I should thank her for the bare minimum. No. I should leave you. But now we're going to get into what happened when I did try to leave him. Every time I tried to leave him. So when I would try to leave him, things would get physical. He would grab me, throw me against the wall, punch me, hit me, whatever, push my head into the couch. There was a point where he pushed my head into the couch so deep that my face was swollen and I literally couldn't breathe. Mind you, I have asthma. This is common knowledge, I fear. I've had asthma my entire life. Yeah, so really pushing your asthmatic girlfriend's head into a couch, knowing she already can't breathe, it feels like attempted murder to me, if I do say so myself, and apparently to the state of Kansas, clearly. So that happens. I will insert like I guess when he finally did his big one was in August. So we got married August 2nd, 2023. I'm trying to keep everything short because I don't want this video to be long because I really just don't want to edit. But August 2nd, 2023, we got married. August, I want to say 11th, 2023 is the first time he cheated on me that I know of while we were married. I do also have those messages because that girl DM'd me. Give me a second. Here it is. So she DMs me. I had just woken up from a nap. I'm laying in the living room on the couch. She DMs me screenshots of their messages of, and I'm going to insert these. I'm just going to have to cross out his Instagram name. And hers as well. And one of the pictures he sent her because it had his genitals and some other girl's underwear in the pictures. Don't know where this picture, how old this picture is, so I can't put that in. So he sends her that, and he's telling her that he wants to buy pictures, videos, and socks and panties from her, saying after you work out and do other things and then mail them. I will also be inserting these screenshots. So let's talk about that. So that happened, and she asked, like, do you want me to send you some? And he said yeah. Then he goes to ask to send, for her to send him some stuff from her Instagram. I will also insert that. And she apparently said no because his next message says, are you sure you don't want to try it for $100? And y'all can pause to read the rest. But after that happened, she messages me and is like, hey, like, your heart in human form be cheating on you. And I was like, there's just no way. Mind you, we've been married for 9 days at this point. So I confront him about it and I try to leave. It gets physical, of course, as always. So, big thing happened August 28th going into the 29th. I think those are the dates. I could be very wrong. I have a letter though. So, I have proof, guys. But that day, did I mess up? Sure did. And that's fine. So what he would say every time he'd get caught cheating on me was, it doesn't count, they were just doing him a service. Like, he was just buying nudes from them, or he was just buying videos, he was just paying for a video call. So I go out and I do something a little unwifely. Yes, I know it was wrong. I was hurt. There's no excuse for it, honestly, because I know how it feels, which is what I wanted him to feel. My whole reasoning behind it was I wanted you to see how you made me feel. He didn't like that, so he beat the dog shit out of me. Cops got called and all. I actually have a letter, both of our letters, mine and his, from the city of Wichita about the case, because they said that since I hit him back, even though he busted my lip, scratched up my face, I'll add the picture of my busted lip and one of the bruises he left on me that day. Even though he busted my lip, scratched up my face, because I hit him back, he could also press charges against me, so they advised that I didn't press charges. So they said, like, if you press charges, he can press charges too, so do what you will with that information. But, yeah. This letter says, Dear Haley Goodwin, which actually I never got my name legally changed to. You were listed as a victim in a case involving blank, I won't say his name, which occurred on August 27, 2023. The police submitted a report regarding this incident, which I have reviewed. At this time, I have declined to file charges against the defendant. This decision was based on the evidence presented to me and an analysis of whether a conviction would be obtained under the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. There must be sufficient evidence from my office to ethically file criminal charges. We understand that this is likely not your preferred resolution to this matter. If you believe that there is additional information or evidence that was not presented to officers at the time, you can submit this information by contacting a domestic violence detective at, and then the phone number. Information often deemed relevant includes visible injuries, photographs, text messages, and or other witnesses of the event. As a victim of domestic violence, there are numerous programs and entities focus on providing assistance. If you need information regarding these resources, assistance to request If you need information regarding these resources, assistance to request a protection from abuse order, or have general questions concerning your situation or available resources, you can contact the victim advocate. So this was from Ben Fisher, the assistant city attorney. Hey Pookie, I hope you see this. You probably won't, but I hope you do, because that man beat the dog shit out of me, and it really was that bad. And that same night he also did something else to me that I just don't want to speak on, so we're not going to talk about it. And it also has something to do with the case that I have against him. But that happens, and it just kind of goes on like this for a while. Him cheating, me finding out and trying to leave, and him beating the dog shit out of me to get me to not leave. At one point he even pulled a knife on me and threatened to stab me and kill me if I left. And obviously I was terrified. Now I know what a lot of people are going to say. Why didn't you just leave? Like, why did you stay for so long? And I never truly understood people staying in abusive relationships or relationships where they were getting cheated on until now. Because I get it. You know, it when it's good, it's really good. It is. But when it's bad, you literally are scared for your life. And that's how it was, you know. When it was good, it was good. We were having fun. We'd go out. We'd go on dates. We'd hang out with each other, watch movies, do all this stuff. Do the things normal couples do. Normal, of course, being subjective. But when it was bad, it was bad. He would beat the shit out of me. He would cheat on me. He would lie on me to family members, friends. He literally took it as far as talking shit to me to his co-workers, people that worked for our insurance company. Like, it got bad. So when he left for deployment in September, I had already decided I was going to come back home for the 6 months he'd be gone. Now, the day I came back to Texas, September 29th, I was in a car accident that almost caused me to lose my life. I was driving his truck and I was towing a U-Haul trailer with our bedroom furniture in it. And also our cat was in the car, Rabbit. I no longer have Rabbit. We'll get to why in a second. But that happens and I almost died. No, but to this day, where doctors, first responders, the people that helped get me out of the truck, nobody understands how I survived, because I should have died in that car. So that happened, and I of course I start trying to get a hold of him. I can't. He's not answering the phone because, you know, he's in the process of getting deployed. So I call. He sends me a number that, you know, if I need to reach him and I can't, I can call it. That person didn't answer either, so I started texting him. My messages are turning green. So I started DMing him, and I'm like, I was just in an accident. The truck flipped. And his very first question, I'm going to find the screenshot and add it in. It's deep into our DMs, so I'm going to have to scroll for a while. But he, not a single time during this process did he ask if I was okay. He immediately just goes, you need to start calling the insurance company. You need to go and pay to get the truck out of the impound. You need to pay for the U-Haul. And I'm just sitting here like, I literally just almost died. And you're worried about the truck. Not once are you going to ask me if I'm okay. So then he starts texting my mom and is like going off on her, saying I lied to him about whatever it is that I apparently lied about this time. Fuck if I know. And they get into it, whatever. So that all happens. Everything ends up getting taken care of. He keeps telling me, you're going to have to pay this amount of money. You're going to have to pay that amount of money. So the guy who was storing the U-Haul and the truck before they got picked up, he said that he wasn't going to charge us for it because I literally could have died, and he still to this day doesn't understand how I survived. And because of that, I'm bad. Sorry. It's the next day. Next morning. It's 8:22 a.m. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's 8:22 a.m. I didn't finish filming yesterday because my SD card went out of storage and my camera battery died. But I have edited the first part of the video, so I'm just jump back in. No idea where I left off, so we're gonna check my laptop. Because of that. Right, so I was talking about how, like, I didn't have to pay for it. I ended up not having to pay for anything because the guy at the, that had the truck and the U-Haul impounded, he ended up saying, like, you know, because you literally almost died, I don't understand how you are alive right now. He comped everything, basically. I didn't have to pay for the storage or anything. Whatever did need to be paid for, insurance covered. And that was it. And then the same thing happened with U-Haul. It took me over a month to get a hold of somebody at U-Haul to be able to go and pick up the trailer from where it was. It was like in between, it was close to Madisonville, because that's where the accident happened. I was going into Madisonville. Ended up not having to pay for the U-Haul or anything. They towed the U-Haul trailer back to Houston, and I was able to empty everything. But yeah, that was everything that happened with the car accident. It was a shit show, to say the least, honestly. And I'm gonna have to leave that out, but it's fine. It's fine. So let's move on from the accident. We end up getting over it. He does threaten to leave me while I'm literally sitting in the ER in Madisonville, and he's like in the process of getting deployed, saying like, we're not going to be together while I'm overseas, da, da, da. He ends up going back on it and is like, I want to be with you, I love you, whatever. So after the accident, we're good for a while, and then I start working in January. Here's when it all goes to hell again. So I start working January 22nd is my first day at my job. I start working, everything seems to be fine, but he gets to a point where he's tired of the hours that I work. So when I was working at my last job, I worked pretty long hours. I mean, we were always doing something. I'd work the full day, and then like on 2 nights a week, we would have things where it's the entire office or the other offices in the Houston area. So I would be out late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Keep that in mind. Now, what we were, it was a marketing firm, and you would go out, collect donations, whatever. Now, you don't get to pick the person you worked with that day. I think I got to pick the person I worked with maybe 3 times, and those 3 times, it was one of my supervisors who was going to go to the field with me regardless because I needed help. The other one was another one of my supervisors who happened to be a female, and the other one was somebody who was pretty much on the same level as me and was another female. The first person was a male. Let's just get that out there. He had an issue with that. He said that before I got a job, he was like, you need to get a job, like, you care about school too much, you're selfish. So I go, okay, I'll go get a job. I go get a job, and it's not like I wasn't looking for a job the entire time. I was looking for a job. It just wasn't happening. I mean, this economy. But whatever. So I get the job. He doesn't like the hours I'm working. He says that I work too much. I'm selfish. All I care about is my job. So now I'm like, well, what do you want from me? First it was I care about school too much, so I'm selfish. Now it's I care about my job too much, so I'm selfish. And then he tried to flip it and say that I was using him, and now that I had a job and my own money, I didn't need him anymore. Yeah. So that happens, and he eventually starts accusing me of cheating. I don't know why I keep putting my braids behind my ear. They're already behind my ear. I don't know. I just need something to do with my hands. So he starts accusing me of cheating on him with 3 of my coworkers. Now, I'm not going to say their actual names. My mom's calling me. So I won't put their real names out into the world because one of them I am still very close with. So the 3 coworkers, we'll call one of them Stanley, because my Stanley's sitting right here. So Stanley is going to be like, okay, so the guy that I requested to go to the field with once, he's going to be Stanley. Cannon is going to be another person, and we'll say Eco is the person I'm still friends with. So he didn't like Stanley, Cannon, or Eco. He didn't like either of them, but he really didn't like Cannon and Eco. Cannon and Eco were his big 2. So Stanley ends up having to leave our office for like 2 months, I want to say. He goes to an office in Dallas to bring a new campaign to our office in Houston. So he's gone. He's out of the equation. My ex doesn't really talk about him because he's like, okay, well, he's not there, whatever. So now it gets to Cannon and Eco. I start going on business trips. I go on 2 business trips with Eco. I go on 1 with Cannon, and he doesn't like that. He says, oh, you're probably sleeping with them when you're on business trips. And I'm like, first of all, There's no dating clause in the contract we signed for work. No inter-office dating. Let's start there. Second, on these business trips, they're literally business trips. My first business trip, we went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was just straight work, like long days. The second we got back to our Airbnb, it was dinner, and we made it a point to like team bond because we were all essentially on the same team. Made it a point to team bond and watch a movie every night. I would leave the movie nights early to go to the room so that I'd be able to text my ex, call my ex, whatever. So this first trip, Eco is on this trip, and then there's another person that there's 2 other people we used to work with that are there. Mind you, we're not staying in the same rooms. So let's get that out the way. The next business trip I go on with Eco, it's Eco and Cannon plus me and another person we worked with. I was not the only girl on either of those trips. There was another girl on both trips. So he starts accusing me of cheating on him when I was in Memphis, which was a trip I went on with Cannon and Eco. So he starts accusing me of cheating on him with them and is like, you're sleeping with them when you're on these business trips. You're only at work so long because you want to see them. When in reality, if I got the chance, hey, you hit your goals, you can go home early. I'm going home and I'm going to bed. Okay? I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning getting ready for work. If I was able to leave work early, I left work early. So that keeps going on, and I'm just kind of like, whatever, like, I'm not cheating on you, I'm not cheating on you. So there comes a night where I'm at work late, and he doesn't like that. Mind you, it's like 8:30, 9 p.m. at this point. We had a crew night. We were out at a restaurant, eating, all having fun. He didn't like that. So he gets mad and is like, you're sleeping with someone else, I know it. And I'm just like, no, again, I'm not. And then he started saying I was lying about my location. So I offered, we had each other's locations on Find My. I offered to have Life 360. I made the circle and everything, sent him the link. He refused to get Life 360. I said, his thing was, because I had told him about how like I had helped friends in the past fake their locations. In order to fake your location, you need to have another iPhone or an iPad or a MacBook, whatever. The only Apple products I have are my phone and my watch. That's it. And my watch doesn't even have a line connected to it. So. But he was like, you're faking your location. I know you're faking your location. And he literally sent my mom a screenshot of how to fake your location and said, just so you know, this is how Haley's been faking her location for years. And I explained it to my mom, and she was like, but you've never had 2 iPhones at once. I've never had 2 iPhones at once. The only time I had a MacBook was my senior year of high school. And I didn't have to fake my location. But, whatever. So that keeps happening, and eventually I get to a point where I'm like, I'm not about to keep putting up with this. What we're not going to do is have you cheat on me, beat the shit out of me, and then come back and accuse me of cheating on you. So I end up breaking things off. This is like March, in like the 20s of March. So I go, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to keep doing this with you. He starts saying that I'm using him, that I just wanted him for his money. No. Which everybody knew, because I would talk to people about how uncomfortable I was with him always buying me stuff, and I'd also brought it up to him at one point. And what he told me was that buying me stuff gives him a sense of purpose. He said he knew I didn't need him, so that buying me stuff gave him a sense of purpose and made him feel needed. Moving on. I ended up breaking things off with him, and he tells me that he hadn't worn his wedding band in 2 months, and that he cheated on me with someone while he was overseas, and he didn't regret it and didn't feel bad about it. That was really the last straw for me. Honestly, when I told him I was done, I would have let him convince me to get back together until he told me he hadn't been wearing his wedding ring, that he had cheated on me while he was up there. So once he said that, I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely done now. So he texted me, told me to take off his rings. I did. I stopped wearing the rings immediately. And that was that. So now we're gonna get into the aftermath of it all. So after we ended things, he didn't like it. He wasn't a fan of being left, I guess. So what he did was he would just fuck with my everyday life. At one point, we were on the same phone plan, so he turned off my phone. And I was like, why the fuck would you turn off my phone? Like, I need my phone to work. I needed the directions to get where I was. I was literally in Magnolia. If you know the greater Houston area, I live in South Houston. My job was in Southwest Houston. I had to get from deep. He finally turned it back on, and then I got to work. Was doing my job. He didn't like that I now wasn't responding to him because I was working. So he would turn my phone off and be like, if you don't answer the phone, I'm going to keep turning your phone off. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? So at this point, I'm like, you can either turn my phone on or I can call your job and I can make you turn my phone back on. He still wouldn't listen. So I called his job. And that's why we're in the position we're in now, because I got tired of it and got tired of being victimized and threatened. So once I finally called his job and started that process, it became you need to tell us everything that happened. So I did. Yeah. So according to him, I ruined his life. He has nothing to live for. I really want to post the video that he sent me a few days ago. He added me on a fake Snapchat account to send me a video. I want to post that so bad, but I can't because it has his face in it. I might be able to figure out how to get his entire face out of the video and post what he said to me. So if that's in this video, then I figured it out. If it's not, so sorry about it. So sorry about it. But my friends have already seen it, some of them, because it was an interesting take. So while this is all going on, he's threatening to do this, threatening to do that. He ends up trying to threaten to email my job and the charity we worked for, saying I broke a code of conduct. Now, code of conduct was never broken, so I wasn't worried about it because I knew the allegations were false. I'm not going to say what exactly the allegation was because it's so odd and so untrue, and there's no way to prove it. He kept saying he had messages to prove it, and I was like, you literally don't. I know you don't because it's not true. So that went on for a while. He ends up trying to report me to my job. It doesn't work because I had already spoken to the people over me, told them what to expect and what was coming, so they knew. And that happens. We get further into the divorce process. He ends up coming up to Houston and sends me a video of Eco's, where Eco lives. Sends me a video. Mind you, at this point, I'm not even there. I was at the hospital with my godmom because she had just had surgery. But at first he was calling me saying that he was about to have me arrested. And at this point of him telling me he was about to have me arrested, I didn't know he was in Houston. He was calling me saying he was about to have me arrested, that I needed to answer my phone or I was going to jail. So I answered my phone. He then took it as far as to say, you just threatened to shoot me. And I was just like, no, I didn't. I answered the phone, heard your voice, and hung up. Because that's literally what happened. I answered the phone, heard his voice, hung up. He starts saying that I threatened to shoot him. I will also be inserting those screenshots because that is so odd. He was like, I never threatened to shoot you. He was like, this is the third time or some stupid shit like that. And I was like, no, it's not, because what? What? So we get through that. I end up finding out he's in Houston. I call the investigators that I've been in touch with, letting them know, like, hey, he's following me around the city. Why is he here? I have a restraining order, no contact order, and a military protection order against this man. How is he able to be in the same city as me? Y'all said he could not leave the state of Kansas. And they immediately go, he told us he coordinated with you about his arrival in Houston. I said, I did not know until I figured out he was stalking me. Why did no one call to confirm with me that he had said this? Y'all know this man is insane. He has proven time and time again to be dangerous. Yet, y'all don't think to double check. So then his commander calls me, and I'm talking to him, getting nowhere, of course. I'm like, this man is following me around the city that I live in. He was still in Houston. He showed up to my mom's house with a cop car, and my mom also has a military protection order against him because he was harassing her. So the investigators were like, you need to get a military protection order against him as well. So she did. So after that, she calls my uncle for him to come up here because my ex is proven time and time again to be dangerous and be insane. So my uncle comes up. He starts basically charging at my uncle, trying to talk shit about me. And what you're not going to be able to do is go to a man in my family and talk down on me and think that they're going to let it slide. Because they're not. My uncle didn't threaten him, didn't do anything, but apparently he got scared. So he called up 5 more cops, and there were 6 cop cars just sitting outside my mom's. And that became a whole thing. He pulled up to Houston in, can I say the make and model of his car? 1999 BMW M3 in forest green, and he pulled up in with no plates. No plates on the front, no plates on the back. So it's like, you come to Houston with no plates and you're stalking me. What were your intentions? Because the only thing I can think is that you wanted to unalive me. And that's what everybody else thought too. Like, he was just trying to find a way to see me, to do something to me. So yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into any other details just because the case isn't resolved yet. But that's pretty much, I don't want to say that's pretty much it, because that's definitely a lot, but that's why I got divorced at 20. Do I recommend getting married young? Absolutely not. Does it work for some people? Yeah. Did it work for me? Fuck no. No, it didn't. Now, that doesn't go to say that I'm gonna just give up on love and never get married again. That man did not ruin love for me. All he showed me was what love isn't. I know what not to look for in my future husband. I'm in no rush to get married again, but I didn't give up on marriage. I still very much believe in love. He did not ruin that for me. Did he traumatize me? Absolutely. Did he give me PTSD? Yes, and I actually was recently diagnosed with it because of him and the nightmares that I have because of what he did to me. So all I will say is, don't date a 5'8" airman. Don't do it. Not one that's 5.5 years older than you. And girls, the man you meet at 19 is not the love of your life. I had somebody tell me that once and I didn't listen. The man you meet at 19 is not the love of your life. He's not. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, if you liked the video, like. If you didn't like it, don't do anything. I am going to try to be a little more consistent on here. Keyword try. It is summer now, so hopefully I can get some fun videos out for y'all. Pretty soon I'll be re-dyeing my hair, so I'll probably film that. But yeah, thank you guys again for watching and taking time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed the story time. If you have any questions, comment. I will answer the comments. But yeah, that's it. Bye guys.
We don't smoke on gelato, so my drop